When the last guest closed the door behind them, Ellen slid onto the kitchen floor, leaned her back against the refrigerator, and wept quietly, soundlessly, her shoulders shaking like a wounded animal's. Outside, the streetlights had dimmed, neighbors had returned to their homes, leaving behind only empty wine glasses, crumpled napkins, and the lingering scent of grilled meat, now nauseating. Everything had been perfect. Fresh flowers on the table, a spotless house, smiling faces, toasts to health, love, and family. No one knew that on this very day, Ellen had buried the one thing she'd believed in most fiercely. But she hadn't buried a person. She'd buried trust. And now she was going to exact revenge, not with shouting, not with scandal, not with the police. She would do it quietly, like a true mother, with calculation, patience, and love so the pain would reflect in the eyes of the one who betrayed her. 5 months earlier, her daughter Lena had sent a photo. She was cradling a newborn, tiny, pink, with delicate fingers and dark curls almost like her father's. "Mom, meet Sophia. She's a miracle," Lena had written. Ellen had cried tears of joy then, called her friends, ordered a lace blanket from France, bought a stroller they hadn't even asked for. She'd been ready to give everything. Exactly 1 week after the birth, Lena messaged again, "Mom, Dad isn't mine." Ellen didn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. "What are you talking about?" she'd replied, trying to stay calm. Lena sent DNA test results. They showed the baby's father was not Daniel, Lena's father, Ellen's husband for 32 years. And then came silence. Not loud. Not hysterical. Just silence. Daniel didn't deny it. Didn't argue. Just looked at Ellen over dinner a few days later and said, "I never wanted to hurt you." It happened, a long time ago. Long ago turned out to be 25 years back. That year, Ellen had been recovering from depression after a miscarriage. She barely left the house. And Daniel had fathered a child with another woman. The woman had died 3 years ago. And the daughter, Lena, had lived in the same town, never knowing the truth. Until that day. At first, Ellen wanted to burn it all down. Kick him out. Drain joint accounts, file for divorce, tell everyone. But then she realized that wouldn't hurt him. It would only hurt her. And she refused to be a victim any longer. So she stayed. She cooked dinners. Asked how his day was. Smiled when he gushed over Sophia, the granddaughter he now adored. Inside, she counted the days. 3 months, that's all she needed. The first month, observation. She recorded everything, his routines, habits, weaknesses. She knew he drank coffee at 6:30 a.m., went to the gym on Tuesdays and Thursdays, called an old friend every Saturday while watching baseball. She knew he kept a business card for the Fellowship Club hidden in his nightstand drawer. She knew his email used 2-factor authentication, and that he dreaded the day Lena might ask, "Why did you stay silent all this time?" The second month, preparation. She opened a separate bank account. Transferred funds he never monitored, part of his retirement savings, part from their joint investments. Bought a phone under a fake name. Hired a lawyer specializing in family secrets and moral damages in a neighboring state. And a private investigator, not for surveillance, but for confirmation. And by the 3rd month, everything aligned. That evening, after everyone had left Sophia's 3rd-month birthday party, Ellen remained alone in the house. Daniel, as usual, had gone out to walk with the neighbor and Lena had taken the baby home. Ellen didn't wait. She walked into his study, opened the safe under his desk. The code was unchanged since their 1990s wedding day. Inside, old documents, letters, a photo album, and a folder labeled, "For Lena, when the time comes." Ellen didn't touch the folder. Instead, she took his laptop, typed in the password. He hadn't changed it since Lena started school, her name and birth year. Within 10 minutes, she had full access to all his accounts, including his cloud storage. There, she found a letter. "To my daughter Lena," it began. "If you're reading this, then I'm gone, or you learn the truth sooner. Either way, I'm sorry. I'm not your biological father, but I raised you from your first steps. I taught you to ride a bike, read to you at night, sat by your hospital bed when you broke your arm at 8. I loved you more than myself." The woman who gave you life passed before she could tell you anything. I took you in, gave you my name, a home, a family. I never expected gratitude. I only wanted you to be happy. If you're angry, I understand. If you forgive me, I'll die in peace. And if you still want the truth, I've left you the address of her house. She lived in the old district, in the house with the red door. Her things are still there. And maybe the answers too. Ellen closed the letter. She understood now. She wasn't just a wife. Not just a mother. She was the wall behind which Lena had grown up safe. And now that wall would become a sword. The next morning, Ellen went to Lena's. She was the first to hold Sophia always. The baby smelled of milk and sleepy warmth. You okay? Lena asked, noticing her mother's unusual silence. I need to show you something, Ellen said. She offered no explanation. Just played a recording on her phone. It was an audio clip of Daniel speaking to a detective Ellen had hired him 3 weeks prior. Pretend you're an old friend. Ask him how he lived with the lie all these years. Daniel had no idea the call was recorded. I sometimes think she suspects, he'd said on the tape. But Ellen, she's too strong. She'd have left. And I was terrified of being alone. And Lena, the friend, asked. Lena, she's my daughter. At least in my heart. Blood isn't everything. The recording ended. Lena stared at the floor. Then lifted her eyes, no tears. Only ice. He knew, she whispered. He knew I might never find out. And he stayed silent anyway. Now the choice is yours, Ellen said. Walk away if you want. Forgive him if you can. But remember, you don't owe him love. Lena nodded. Then she picked up her phone and dialed. Dad, come over. We need to talk. Daniel arrived 20 minutes later. He walked in holding a cake for Sophia. Set it on the table and froze at the look in their eyes. What's wrong? You knew, Lena said. All these years. He paled. I wanted to tell you. But I was afraid. Afraid of what? Lena's voice trembled, not from weakness, but fury. That I'd stop calling you Dad? That I'd stop loving Sophia? Or that Mom would leave you? He said nothing. You stole my choice, Lena continued. You knew I had a mother who died. Knew I had a history. And you hid it, all to play the hero. Daniel lowered his gaze. I loved you. Love isn't built on lies, Ellen said. Especially in a family. Silence stretched 1 minute. 2. Then Lena stood, walked to him, and removed the necklace from around his neck, the one he'd worn since her birth. This was your gift at my christening, she said. You told me it was from my grandmother. But now I know you bought it yourself. She placed it on the table. I won't stop you from seeing Sophia. But if you want to be part of her life, you start with honesty. He nodded, eyes downcast. When he left, Ellen hugged her daughter. You handled it. And you. I made my decision long ago, Ellen said. I'm staying with you. With Sophia. With the truth. 3 weeks later, Daniel filed for divorce. He said he couldn't live with the weight of guilt anymore. Ellen didn't argue. She sold the house, bought an apartment closer to Lena's, and legally transferred all funds from his accounts, keeping only what he'd earned on his own. He didn't contest it. In a farewell letter, he wrote, You are the best wife you could have been. And the best mother, even to a child not your own. Don't forgive me for the lie. Forgive me for not believing you could bear the truth. She didn't reply, but she kept the letter. Not out of tenderness, but on principle. Let him know, even silence holds power. Now Ellen wakes early, as always. She brews coffee, looks out the window. Sophia crawls on the grass. Lena reads her a book. Ellen no longer cries. She exacts revenge not with pain, but with life. A life built on honesty. On choice. On love that needs no lies to survive. And that above all is the greatest revenge.